Hello, it's Eric from E.M.B.R, and this week it is Stage 5, the finale of April Z Racing After Party. If you've been following along this month, you've seen I've basically been throwing the individual race out the door in favor of the GC. So no Zone 2 and Sprint, just Zone 5 and Survive. Trying to push the pace of the race so that we can get a good time overall for the GC. So far it's worked. I'm 5th overall going into this stage. Had some goals, trying to get under 28 minutes if I can. In order to have a shot at that, I figure I need to be at the bottom of the KOM by 23 minutes. And in order to do that, I know we've got to push pace on this long flat section, keep it honest. I'll be doing some of that work. Also, a friend, Matt, offered to do some pulls for me. He's wib-wobbing the race on Sisu team. Very grateful for that. But yeah, we're going to be doing work here in the front half. With that context and intro, let's get it started. I'm going to time-lapse some of it as always, but hope you enjoy. As we get started, let me just say, if you get triggered by watching people race inefficiently, this probably isn't the video for you. We're definitely going to be out in the wind a bit. If you look at this higher res route profile, my initial goal was to take speed over these first 3 bumps, get the speed up for the race, and then also one last time before that for a sprint point. And I originally thought that I was going to be the one to have to do that work, but right away someone's off the front like a rocket. And I'm happy with that. I do want to make sure that the field doesn't just look at it as one guy off the front though, so I try to take speed over this crest and encourage the chase. Just a short punch of power to pick up some speed, and then I'm settling in. It does put my nose out in the wind for a little bit, but it's downhill, not pushing too hard. As we go back on the uphill, let the field wash over me, catch some draft. But then as we come up on the second bump, I'm hitting it again. Basically, everything I want to do is keep speed up, and just hitting power over that crest, we can get onto the downhill and get over 50 kilometers per hour again. And nose out in the wind, not working too hard though, already powers down into the green. Just again, encouraging the pace. Not sure the duels remark is aimed at. It's not me, but probably one of the guys that was off like a rocket at the beginning. But yeah, again, just letting the field wash over and getting through the intestines now. And through the intestines, it field's game. You see some fire exhaust going off there a couple times. They're pushing, and I'm happy enough to sit back in the draft here as we come into the third of those bumps I showed at the beginning of the race. We crest over that and downhill, and yeah, field's pushing and we can sit in. But as we hit the bottom of that hill, the power at the front ebbs a little bit and E.M.B. takes a punch. And similar to when I worked with Thomas from Sisu, we didn't really strategize too much on this other than let's push the pace if no one else is. And this was just exploratory. The field has been pretty game, so just a little bit of a nose out and see if they wash over again. And they sort of do, but the pace is a little lukewarm, so E.M.B. takes a little bit stronger of a punch. He takes some speed over the crest, puts a little bit of power on it on the downhill, just kind of looking, seeing is the field going to wash over again or not. Then you can see there he types at me, just seeing who has what. Definitely exploratory. We're willing to be inefficient to push the pace here, but if someone else is going to do it, we don't mind that either. But this time around it looks like the field is willing to let E.M.B. do the work, so he does a pretty good long pull here. I'm sitting in his wheel. I'm trying to eventually sit back a little bit and let some others get between his wheel and mine, get a little more draft, and also just see if someone might be willing to wash over. Not really seeing too many takers. See Tefler pop up. He's strong, wouldn't mind if he did some work. I'd love Tefler to work too, that'd be great. Anybody though, really. Take the pressure off E.M.B. But while Tefler's strong, he's also smart, so he's not pulling right now. He's saving his energy for later in the race. See Scorekeeper's jersey pop up there for a second, also not doing work. Eventually somebody does kick out, and I follow their wheel pretty hard, and then sit back, hoping the field will wash over and do the chase. They do. That's kind of goodness. So a little bit of pace there for a bit. E.M.B. gets to the front, though, eventually, and starts doing a harder pull. Not super hard, but just trying to keep the pace a little bit honest through here. There's definitely a lull in this section. Eventually here, I sort of rub and steer through E.M.B. Like, yep, we're here. Are you gonna push or should I? We're not communicating through Discord or anything like that. So I think he figured it out though, because right after this, he pops up pace here for a pretty good bit. He starts hitting 5.6. So can't thank E.M.B. enough. He definitely tortured himself on this race a little bit, being inefficient, fighting for the good cause. But yeah, he's out. I'm on the wheel again. But I can't tell if he is fatigued or not, so as the pace lets up a little bit, I decide, let me give a ramp here, let me throw a harder surge, a harder punch. Now I'll pull for a bit if I have to, or we'll see if the field responds to something just a little bit stronger. So I get out there, start hitting a little over 5 watts a kg, just sort of ramping it up, get into a little bit of a descent here, speed kicks up, and then sure enough, someone comes through, which I'm happy to see. So I get in that wheel and sort of wait and see, is the field going to wash over? Are we going to start to get some attacks going again? And yeah, one more comes through, starts to push, E.M.B.R comes through, another comes, and then it's like, yeah, are we going to push or not? It's just sort of 4 of us. And then, yeah, the hard push goes, and that's what we want to see for sure. I didn't snap to that wheel immediately. I was trying to see if the field would chase, and right here, by the way, as well, E.M.B.R offers me some good advice about the end of the race. We'll see if I follow that or not. And for the moment, I am just trying to be a little bit efficient, see if the field will chase instead of me pulling this back. Somebody off the front is only good if they're keeping the pace of the field in general up. Scorekeeper does come to the front here. Love to see that.
Listen to E.M.B.R, man. Listen to E.M.B.R.
And that's just some self-talk, thinking about E.M.B.R's advice to fall to the back. Definitely thinking, hey, you've done some pretty hard work. We're getting towards the back half of the race here. Maybe start to settle a little if you can. And Scorekeeper, kind of like Tefler, strong, but also smart. He's done enough work, so he starts to sit up. Eventually, E.M.B.R comes out and he starts doing the work. Because again, someone off the front doesn't help if we're not up in the pace to catch him. And to his credit here, E.M.B.R's done a lot of pulling, and he pulls super hard here as well. Definitely hammers out. That motivates the field, though. Sure enough, just takes one person. I wash over, a few others wash over, and then yeah, that virtuous cycle starts where Scorekeeper comes now. So the whole field starts to do a little bit of yanking. We pull it back. Get to the cobbles here, starts to settle a little bit. But, we're in attack mode again, it looks like, with the field. So sometimes we just need to prod and encourage, and that's what we're doing. And when we can, sit back in the draft a little bit. But it doesn't seem to take long before field slows its pace again. So when we come up on this hill, you can see it in my eyes. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take some hard punch up into this crest, take some speed over it, see if I can motivate again, and we'll see what happens. Did I need to do this work, or should I be doing this work? I don't know. I'm definitely motivated to get to the bottom of Petit KOM by 23 minutes. I kind of felt like we might not be on schedule for that, so I wanted to get the pace up again. And if you noticed, even though I hit power that hard, we still lost 2 or 3 kilometers per hour going up that hill. And now I'm cresting the hill. I just want to make sure that we keep that pace up. If I'm going to put power down, it's all about the speed, not about 4.4 watts per kg if you look at the top. That's not what this is about. It's about trying to keep the overall speed up for the race. But that said, speaking of 4.4 watts per kg average, for 20 minutes, that's a PB for me. So as we work through these cobbles, I'm more than glad to let the field wash over me and sit in for a little bit. I do want to keep the pace up, but the field seems to be doing a pretty good job through the cobbles here. But as we approach this next hill, you see that look in my eyes again. The E.M.B.R maneuver number 1 on repeat. Yeah, punching power again over the crest, taking some speed over the hill. Not a long punch, but again, just enough to bang the speed over the crest, get a little gap. I'm sitting up, and then again, hoping the field will wash over. We'll see how that goes. And there's absolutely a chance I could be more patient about this, and the work would get done anyways. I guess this is what happens when you have a goal and you feel you've got something to lose, you end up doing work. But you can see, even while I'm giving the field a chance to wash over me and push, they're not really doing so. I'm getting a little nervous about that 23-minute mark given where we're at right now, so my nose is a little up the front. And E.M.B.R looks like he sees that and starts to pull a little bit.
Thanks, E.M.B.R. I'm just trying to take speed over these crests is all.
And the field's natural tendency at this point is to be sitting up and pulling energy for that climb, which is what I should by all rights be doing as well if I weren't motivated for GC.
I'll let them do this one.
Yeah, there's a very real battle going on in my head about being stressed about, are we going to get to the bottom by 23 minutes? And I need to have some energy for when we get to the bottom. I'm hard staring at that non-green part of the mini-map and where the climb starts and trying to do math in my head.
We're close.
After calculating, my sophisticated wild-ass guess is we're close. Insightful. But the reality is we're close and I'm nervous. Going over these rollers, the pace is blue and gray. I'm watching that clock and you see that look in my eyes again. You know what's next. I want the pace up. There's a crest. Small punch this time. I didn't even stand, but it brings me right out into the front. And then there's another roller right behind that. Small punch on that, and that carries me a little further. Field has no interest. They're more than glad to have me sit at the front at this point. They're racing the race, not the GC. If we're honest, I probably shouldn't be pushing here. I don't know how much time we're really buying. I should be pooling energy as well. But just as I start to sit up, someone comes through hard. And I'm like a rabid raccoon. I see someone willing to do work, I snap to their wheel immediately. They don't go that hard, but yeah, pace does pick up a little bit. But I'm still hard eyeballing that clock and thinking, yeah, 23 minutes, we're so close, but not close enough. I'm out the front again. I'm just nervous. We gotta get to the calm. We gotta get to the calm. So out in the front, I do let the field wash over me right before we get there. 23:15. 23:15. Not exactly, especially after doing that much work. 23 after doing that much work, maybe that would have been fine. But 23:15 after doing that much work, yeah, I've gone sub 5 on this climb, but sub 5 after doing all of that, not sure I can get there. So I'm trying to sit and draft here a little bit, stand and just keep pace with the field. It's hard effort. If I'm going to stay with the field at this point or just do the climb at a good pace, I've got to be pushing pretty high watts, especially as you get into these orange and red sections. But yeah, trying to keep pace with the group, stay in draft while I can here. Hopefully still have some energy. Heart rate's above 180 though already, so that's not necessarily a bad sign. Doing work for sure. And as we get into this next orange section, I'm going to slow it down to 100% and just let the breathing and the live audio take over for a second. That orange section was rough. Heart rate going 183, 184. A couple guys off the front who I definitely can't chase. But sadly, those are carrots the rest of the field definitely does want to chase. And so on this yellow section where I thought I might be able to pull energy again for a second, the field just bang. And I feel like now I've got a surge where I wasn't ready to. Trying to follow the field, stand up and grind. Desperation feather engaged. And the whimpers of regret begin. And that feather was supposed to be used in the later section. Now I'm pushing barely 300 watts, falling off the back. Definitely not the best use. Right here, I should be punching with that feather, pulling back up into the field. I just don't have the energy. Heart rate is pegged and I'm just gassed. I see Tanner Cook come past me. He and I have had some fun sprint races, but seeing him motivates me to stand up a little bit, try to do something. Sorry you're looking at the top of my head, and even more sorry that I'm barely pushing 5 watts a kg while the field's doing north of 6 and more. It's not enough. But here we are again, that familiar place where GC time versus race time. And I'm off the back, but that doesn't mean the goal is not achievable. So here it's basically focus, get the energy, shoot for that time, get as close to 28 as you can. If I raced more efficiently throughout, just sat in the pack, the overall race wouldn't have been as fast. I would have had more energy, probably would have done better in the race itself, but we know what the goal is. We know what we're doing coming in, and I had hoped that adrenaline might kick in, but instead lactate and fatigue kicked in. The reality is, I keep going at it like this, keep doing the right things. Eventually, one day, I'll be able to do work and still have a kick at the end. But as my whimpers and suffering continue, today's not that day. Today, it's all about driving to that line. Emptying the tank, keeping my head in the game, doing the best we can for the GC. And I will admit to losing a little bit of focus here while I was suffering. My A goal was 28 minutes, but my B goal was 28:15. That put me ahead of Chris Keogh. Kind of lost track of that here. I needed to be driving hard and not pulling energy right here. Do eventually punch and fight. A little late. That hurt. Jeez. But Sadly, 28:22 is not 28:15. Not a bad time. Not what we were shooting for. Definitely emptied the tank though.
Keep pedaling. Ouch. Keep pedaling. Ah.
Here are the results. GC on the left did get into the podium again. Didn't quite catch Keo. Would have been nice. KK, KK's KK, but definitely wanted to get Chris. Chris is a better rider than I am, so it's not surprising I couldn't do it, but it was a goal out there, moonshot. On the right is the race results, and definitely down the bottom for that. We sacrificed the race on the right for the GC on the left. 4.4 though, that's a race PB for me on something this long and this much of an effort. Definitely not efficient if you look at the field, but again, just different goals. And I definitely do keep finding my limit at the after party. There's no question about that. But as noted, it's also by design. Hard pulls, fast race. That's what we wanted.
We'll look at the 20-minute here in a second. I think it's close to a PB just because of, we'll see. It got a little lackadaisical here at the end because the front was hard. So what we earned here, we kind of lost there. Had to work more at the back than I wanted to. Can't control the race. I mean, you can try to influence it. That's the best I could do. And with Wib's help, that definitely, I think stage 3, Thomas Sword and Sinfin Sisu. And stage 5, Wib from Sisu. Big shout out to that team, great group of guys. Definitely both of them more fit than I am, but I appreciate their help. Just being friendly and seeing I was shooting for something and lending a hand or a foot or a leg, as the case may be. And then we died again, sort of like last week. And it's pushed for what we could to get the time. Me versus me again, which is fine. If I race more like this, eventually I can maybe pull my level to where I don't drop at the end. Along with the base work I'm doing, which you don't see on video, but I'm doing a ton of zone 2 base work, high cadence, low cadence, all kind of just structured stuff. Not erg, I don't like erg, but structured training with a purpose. All right, that's enough about that. You just watched it, you know what happened. It wasn't pretty at the end. There we go. That, my friends, is what it's all about. Right there is what it's all about. I needed 27:51 to knock KK out. I needed 28:15 to knock Chris Keo out. Chris is a beast, so KK, we'll leave that alone. Past Garrett Deuced, so I'll probably be in third, I think, at this point. I'll look at the scoreboard in a second. We'll see. I put a number out there for Davik and Young to hit. So third, but Shaparov almost certainly is going to go out there and get first again. So I'll probably get bumped down to fourth. If I'm in the top 5 at the end of all this, I was hoping to be on the first page when the series started. So if I'm on the top 5, amazing. Podium was a dream. Like I only thought possible, maybe, possibly, if I could go out and hit 27 something on this. I just not had all the help I could get, and I just not good enough to do it. I was gassed. He's not good enough on the day. Top 10, I think, hopefully. Do 28-minute PB. There's nothing to complain about, whatever position I end up in. But that was the goal. That's what kept me motivated. That's what gets a 28-minute PB. When otherwise you might just give up and say, oh, I got dropped. No. Got dropped by the field. I'm not going to get dropped by myself. So anyways, off soapbox. Thanks, Wib. Thanks, Thomas. Anybody else that helped out, cheered me on. Thanks, man. See you guys. Oh, and FTP decrease. FTP increase detected. Another benefit of doing this. That was well earned. All right, man. Oh yeah. Kool-Aid man. Busting through walls, busting through walls.
And here's the intervals report on that same effort. Intervals has the FTP bump at 328 versus 329, but yeah, 103% intensity, just a banger of a race. W-Bal below zero again, emptying the tank. That's what it's about. But that's it for today. If you're still watching, thanks for sticking it through to the end. Throw me a comment. Always love to talk. As for what's next, the May series, well, we may race the race. That's got a little bit more favorable finish for me. And we might sharpen the pointy edge of our power spectrum again. We'll see.